Congress, House and Senate left town without voting on what the Justice Department has called its anti-weaponization compensation fund. Not to quote. Democrats and Republicans have either been skeptical or, in some cases, highly critical of a plan that would set aside some $1.7 billion for legal bills for those who feel they were unfairly targeted by the Biden Justice Department. On that topic, here was North Carolina Republican Senator Thom Tillis when asked what he wanted to hear from the acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, who signed off on this fund.
About the payout pot for punks? Not a lot. Look, under what circumstances would it ever make sense to provide restitution for people who were either pled guilty or were found guilty in a court of law? This is just stupid on stilts.
Blanche was on the Hill today in a closed-door meeting with Senate Republicans. CBS's Nikole Killion joins me now from Capitol Hill, where you have some new Enterprise reporting on what turned out to be a very tense meeting. Nikole?
Yeah, that's right. This meeting lasted for almost 2 hours, Major, and it ended with not much resolution. The acting attorney general left, and then a short time later, we learned that the Senate was going to cancel votes on this broad reconciliation package, which, again, was the goal this week to try to move forward funding for ICE and CBP. But when the Justice Department unveiled this new anti-weaponization fund earlier this week, a lot of senators expressed a similar view to Senator Tillis, that they feel like this stinks. They want more clarity about how this is going to operate. And even though Blanche testified on the Hill earlier this week, he came back to sit down with Republican lawmakers because basically they were considering some guardrails for this fund as part of the reconciliation package. And that was something that only came up in light of this fund. Now, earlier this week, I asked Leader Thune his thoughts about the fund. Take a listen.
Do you believe this is a legitimate fund, and do you believe those terms are fair?
I think that there are and will be, continue to be, a lot of questions around that the administration is going to have to answer.
And even after making those comments to me, lawmakers continue to have plenty of questions about this fund. Thune acknowledged as much, saying that members still have a lot of concerns after this meeting with Todd Blanche. Most notably, the chief concern here is whether or not people who assaulted law enforcement here at the Capitol on January 6th should be compensated by this fund. Most lawmakers are in agreement, both Republican and Democrat, that that should not be the case. Now, there were at least 2 senators that told me they got some assurances from Blanche out of this meeting that those types of individuals would not be compensated. But one of those senators, and this is an important senator, Susan Collins, she said she wants to see something in writing, some language. She wants greater clarity. And she told other reporters, that Blanche's explanation didn't necessarily change her mind about this fund. You have other senators like Bill Cassidy who say he doesn't even think there should be a fund like this. So because of all of this disagreement, that's why the votes were canceled on this reconciliation package. Leader Thune telling me he hopes they can try to come to some resolution when senators return next month after the Memorial Day recess.
A political headache, that has derailed an important piece of legislation. Nikole Killion with all the details from Capitol Hill. Thank you very much.